Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're diving headfirst into something that's really changing the game in 2025, AI agents.
Yeah, big topic.
Huge. What once felt like, science fiction is now actively transforming how businesses operate. And I know the immediate questions that pop into your head because, well, they pop into mine too.
Yeah, like, is this thing going to take my job?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Will an AI agent replace my entire job? Can I just delegate absolutely everything and, finally take that permanent vacation?
It's a natural reaction, right? And those are definitely the anxieties we hear all the time. But this deep dive is really designed to cut through all that hype.
Correct.
Our mission today is to show you that the true power of AI agents isn't about replacing you. It's actually about forming a pretty powerful partnership.
A partnership. I like that framing.
Yeah. We're going to explore what's genuinely possible with these agents right now, focusing on, real-world implementation and the actual value they can deliver.
And to do that, we've custom-tailored this deep dive just for you. We're pulling exclusive insights directly from HubSpot Leadership's AI Agents Unleashed Playbook for 2025 Success. We've got perspectives from HubSpot's Chief Marketing Officer, Kip Bodnar, and their Senior Vice President of Marketing, Kieran Flanagan. These guys share their experience from actual implementations across their organization.
Yeah, they've been in the trenches with this stuff, so their insights are incredibly valuable, not just theoretical.
Right. And what's particularly interesting, maybe even reassuring right off the bat, is Kieran Flanagan's take.
What's that?
He points out that the companies seeing the most success with AI agents, well, they aren't laying people off or replacing entire roles.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Instead, they're actually promoting people because, you're still accountable for the end results, for checking the work, presenting it. But now, as he puts it, you have this extra tool.
An extra tool. So it's amplification, not replacement.
Exactly. It really sets the stage for thinking about human-AI collaboration as, an amplification, not a competition. It suggests your role might evolve, become more strategic, maybe less bogged down by the repetitive stuff.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. So with that framing, let's dig into the fundamentals. What are these AI agents really at their core?
Yeah, and how do they genuinely differ from the smart chatbots many of us are already using?
Yeah.
Because, for a lot of us, that line can feel a little blurry sometimes.
That's a really crucial distinction. So in the simplest terms, AI agents are software systems that can perform tasks autonomously on your behalf.
Autonomously. Keyword.
Keyword. But the big difference from a traditional chatbot, or even like a basic AI assistant, is that agents can handle multi-step processes without continuous human guidance.
Okay, hold on. Multi-step without continuous guidance. What does that look like?
Think of it like this. A chatbot is reactive. It waits for your input, then it responds. An agent is proactive. You give it a goal, and it actually figures out the steps needed to achieve that goal.
So it's less like a back-and-forth Q&A.
Right.
And more like handing off a project brief and trusting it to run with it.
Pretty much, yeah. And what enables that kind of autonomy? Well, when you think about the anatomy of an effective AI agent, there are three key capabilities.
Okay.
First, they have memory and context awareness. This means they remember previous interactions, instructions, they build on past work.
So no more repeating yourself endlessly.
Exactly. Imagine a customer support agent remembering your entire conversation history across different sessions, maybe recognizing when a new issue is related to an old ticket. All without you having to re-explain everything?
That alone would be huge. That's one of the biggest frustrations with current digital stuff, right? Re-explaining.
Absolutely. It could fundamentally change that support experience. Second, they possess multi-step reasoning and planning.
Reasoning and planning.
Yeah.
So they can think.
Well, sort of. They can break down complex tasks into logical steps and methodically work through them. They're not just following a rigid, pre-programmed script. They can reason about how to approach new situations, even if they haven't seen that exact problem before.
Okay, that's starting to sound pretty powerful. Memory, reasoning. What's the third thing?
And this is where it truly gets powerful. Tool integration.
Tool integration. What does that mean in practice? How do they actually do things in the real world?
This is a real game changer. It means agents aren't just stuck with their internal knowledge. They can actively interact with your other software, your CRM.
Your customer relationship management system.
Right. Or your analytics platforms, email systems, other tools. They can go out, gather information, and then take action.
Take action.
Yeah. As Kieran Flanagan highlights, this is key. He says these agents are going to use those tools to interact with other systems, your ERP, that's your enterprise resource planning, your CRM, whatever that might be. They retrieve info. They can even manipulate those systems to get the job done.
Okay, so let's really nail down this chatbot versus AI agent thing then. If a chatbot gives me an answer, what does an agent give me?
An AI agent delivers a result.
A result, okay.
A chatbot gives you information, maybe a direct response. An agent executes a whole workflow.
Give me an example.
Okay, think about this. You ask a chatbot, find the best performing blog posts from last quarter and draft social media updates for each.
Right.
The chatbot might give you instructions like, okay, go to your analytics, filter by date, sort by views, then write some posts. You still have to do all the work.
Yeah, that's helpful, but it's still on me.
Exactly. But an AI agent, if you ask it the same thing,
What happens?
it would likely connect to your analytics API. That's the bridge allowing software to talk.
Right, the interface.
Yeah. It analyzes the top posts, it drafts the social media updates, and if it's integrated with your publishing tools, it might even schedule them for you.
Wow, okay, that's a big difference.
Huge difference. Kieran Flanagan calls this the beauty of agents. He says they exploit large language models, the big AI brains.
The LLM.
And then to help these LLMs kind of navigate a problem on their own, so it's not a chat anymore. You give it a task and you can leave the room. And then this agent's going to try to autonomously figure out how to get there.
You can leave the room. That's the key phrase.
That autonomy, that ability to execute a full workflow, that's the core distinction.
That is a pretty compelling vision. But, okay, let's ground ourselves. Again, reality check. What's the actual state of AI agents in 2025? Is this all happening right now, full steam ahead, or are we still, early days?
Well, Kip Bodnar offers a really good measured view here. He says, it's a peek at what's to come. I think it shows that the future is still a little ways away.
Okay, so managing expectations.
Exactly. It's a crucial dose of reality. It tells us, look, agents are powerful, but they aren't magic wands, right? They excel at defined problems. But the really complex, ambiguous stuff, the challenges that need deep human intuition, original thought, that's still a frontier.
So it sets the stage for amplifying humans, not replacing them.
Precisely. We're not talking full human replacement yet, not by a long shot. But significant capabilities are definitely here and making an impact today.
So where do they excel today? What are the practical things they're actually good at right now, delivering real value?
They're particularly strong in tasks that would otherwise just bog humans down.
Like what?
Like research and data compilation, stuff that takes humans hours to pull together manually. Agents can grab info from multiple sources, organize it, present it usefully, and they don't get tired or bored doing it.
No cognitive fatigue. I like the sound of that. I'm thinking about my weekly report pulling.
Like chuckle. Exactly. That alone. It's about offloading that cognitive burden so you can focus on the higher value strategic thinking.
Makes sense. What else?
They're also great for background task management, things where latency or speed doesn't really matter that much. As Kieran Flanagan puts it, the latency doesn't matter if it's a task that you just want to put on in the background. And you have this little army of agents doing things.
A little army of agents working away quietly.
Yeah. And crucially, they're ideal for what we call low precision tasks.
Low precision, what does that mean?
It means tasks where, say, 90% accuracy is perfectly fine.
Okay.
Think about drafting a first version of a social media post or compiling some preliminary research notes. If there's a small typo or maybe a slightly off fact, it's not the end of the world. You'll review it anyway.
Right. It's a starting point, not the final product.
Exactly. That makes them excellent places to start experimenting with agents.
And the opposite would be high precision.
Right. In contrast, for high-precision tasks, things like drafting a legal contract or managing sensitive financial transactions where you need near-perfect accuracy and errors have big consequences, well, you'll still need significant human oversight there.
Okay, that low precision versus high precision distinction is really helpful. So who's actually adopting these agents now? Is it just the huge tech companies with massive budgets?
Well, larger enterprises are certainly leading the charge. And yes, something like 54% of global companies are already using conversational AI in some form.
Okay, that's quite a few.
It is. However, the really sophisticated agent implementations, the ones doing those complex multi-step things we talked about, that's still at an earlier adoption stage.
So there's still an opportunity.
A huge opportunity for you. As Kieran Flanagan puts it, if you're listening to the deep dive and you're thinking, I'm going to create an agent and do something, you're in the fast movers. You still have an opportunity to be an incredibly fast mover here.
So getting in now is a real advantage.
Very much so. The competitive edge is definitely up for grabs.
Which brings us back to that core theme you mentioned, the human-AI partnership model. How does that actually work day to day? What does it mean for our jobs?
It's really about enhancing what humans can do, creating a multiplier effect. Think about it. AI agents are great at execution, processing tons of data, being consistent, handling repetitive stuff.
Grunt work sometimes.
Yeah, often. Humans, on the other hand, excel at judgment, creativity, building relationships, complex decisions, critical oversight.
Things machines aren't good at yet.
Exactly. And Kieran Flanagan is really clear on this. The companies that are being most successful, they're not replacing entire roles. You are still accountable. But the agents provide that extra tool that frees you up for more strategic work.
I liked the idea in the source material about a decision tree for figuring out if a task is a good fit for an agent. Can you walk us through that? How do you decide?
Yeah, it's a really practical framework. You basically ask yourself 4 questions about a task. 1, is it repetitive and time-consuming?
Okay.
2, does it require access to structured data? Like, are the inputs and outputs fairly clear? 3, is roughly 90% accuracy acceptable? Is it low precision? And 4, do you have clear, measurable success metrics for this task? Can you tell if it's working?
Okay.
If you can answer yes to all of those, it's probably a really good candidate for an AI agent. If it needs, tons of nuance or the stakes are super high, if it gets it wrong, it probably needs more human touch.
That's a very clear way to think about it. So that's what's working well. What about the flip side? What are the current limitations or challenges people are running into? We need to be realistic about the hurdles, too.
Absolutely. We do. One challenge can be speed and latency for individual tasks. While agents can work continuously on many things in the background, a single specific task might sometimes take longer than a human doing it right then and there.
Okay, so it's not always faster for one specific thing.
Not necessarily in real time for one thing, but the overall throughput can be much higher. Then there's the whole question of trust and control.
Yeah, trusting the machine.
Kieran Flanagan raises a really important point here. He asks, one of the big question marks around autonomous agents is, what's the right UX pattern so people feel comfortable with them? Should it just come back and say it's booked, or should you actually be able to see the agent complete the task so you feel comfortable?
That's a great question. Do you want the black box, or do you want to see the gears turning so you trust it?
Exactly. That feeling of comfort and control is absolutely key for people to actually adopt and use these things. You need to trust your new digital teammate.
What other hurdles are there?
Well, integration complexity can be a big one, especially with older legacy systems.
Yeah.
Getting agents to talk smoothly with some bespoke business software often takes significant technical know-how.
Right, plugging it into the old plumbing.
Yeah. And finally, as we touched on, tasks demanding near-perfect accuracy, those high-precision requirements, they still need significant human oversight. It's more human-AI collaboration where the human does the final check rather than full autonomy.
Okay, so given these challenges, why is 2025 being called an inflection point for AI agents? What's really different now compared to, previous AI hype cycles?
It's really the convergence of a few key things happening at once.
Like what?
First, the underlying foundation models, the AI brains, are just vastly improved. They're more capable than ever before. Second, the tool integration capabilities are expanding rapidly, allowing agents to connect with more and more of your existing systems.
Okay, better brains, better connections.
And third, there's a growing organizational readiness. Companies are starting to understand the potential and are more willing to experiment and adopt these technologies. Unlike previous hype cycles, today's agents are actually delivering measurable business impact right now.
So it's not just potential anymore.
Exactly. Organizations putting agents to work now are building the expertise and infrastructure that will give them a serious competitive advantage down the line. Kip Bodnar sums it up perfectly, I think. He says, we're still in very short supply of just smart, rational humans applying logic and leveraging technology.
Meaning agents make smart people even more effective.
Precisely. They amplify human intelligence, making smart people smarter and more productive.
Okay, let's get really concrete then. What are some practical, value-driving use cases we're actually seeing across different departments? Let's start with marketing. They always seem to jump on new tech first.
Yeah, marketing teams are seeing huge wins, especially around content. Kieran Flanagan believes, and I think he's right, that it's the best time in human history to monetize good ideas.
Why is that?
Because AI unlocks the ability to bring that to life in a really incredibly fast way, and you can iterate much faster with AI.
So speed and iteration.
Exactly. Think about repurposing content. Instead of taking hours to turn one long blog post into, say, social media snippet.
Which takes forever.
Right. Agents can instantly transform it into multiple formats tailored for different channels, maybe a LinkedIn carousel, a series of tweet threads, an email summary. HubSpot's own team even uses them to analyze their YouTube videos, pull out what they call spicy takes, and format them perfectly for LinkedIn posts.
Wow, analyzing video for spicy takes. That's specific.
It is, and it's not just about speed, it's about unlocking these iterative content strategies that just weren't feasible before. You can test and learn so much faster.
That's huge for campaign velocity. What about understanding the audience or analytics?
Yeah, agents are great there too. They can do continuous market monitoring or compile customer feedback from all over into actionable reports. Really helps marketers get a deeper pulse on their audience.
Okay.
They can also analyze website performance data and automatically generate ideas for A/B tests, just constantly looking for ways to optimize. And for campaign analytics, they can enable things like dynamic budget allocation or continuous ad copy tweaking, even spotting anomalies in real time that might signal a problem or an opportunity.
Okay, moving over to sales. Where are agents making a difference there? Especially thinking about things that directly impact revenue.
Sales teams are finding agents really valuable for stuff that historically ate up a lot of time but didn't directly involve talking to customers. This frees up reps to focus more on actually selling and building relationships.
Like what kind of tasks?
Like lead qualification and prioritization. Agents can enrich lead data by pulling info from public sources, maybe LinkedIn or company websites. They can score leads based on how likely they are to convert, and then route them to the right sales rep automatically.
Kip Bodnar mentioned a really cool example they use at HubSpot for sales, right?
He did. It's fascinating. He described how when someone creates a new account on their website, they have agents that immediately go online and research that person.
Okay.
And he says, given the information that they found, they come up with hypotheses on how this person is going to use their product.
Whoa. So the sales rep gets a pre-baked hypothesis before they even reach out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a massive time saver and allows for incredibly relevant, personalized first outreach.
That's personalization at scale, which has always been the dream, right?
Right. It really is. The days of blasting generic sales emails are numbered, hopefully. Agents can generate highly customized outreach messages, create tailored value props, craft follow-up sequences.
And didn't Dharmesh Shah mention something about LinkedIn via Kip?
Yeah, via Kip Bodnar. Dharmesh highlighted that agents can even track specific people's LinkedIn posts and provide summaries or reports back to the sales rep. So you get this ongoing engagement intelligence.
That's incredibly useful. What about just the admin around sales?
Big help there too. Meeting, prep, and follow-up. Agents can compile prospect research, generate draft agendas, create meeting summaries automatically, draft personalized follow-up emails, basically giving reps more time back to actually sell.
Okay, sales and marketing makes sense. What about more internal operational stuff? How are agents helping the broader organization run smoother?
Good question. In internal knowledge management, for example, agents can help keep documentation up to date, maybe answer common employee questions instantly by searching internal wikis or databases, even help create training materials by analyzing existing info.
Like an internal help desk bot, but smarter.
Yeah, but with more capability to synthesize and create. For process automation, think about all those administrative workflows that are repetitive and follow clear rules.
Expense reports. Please tell me expense reports.
Oh, jockles. Expense reports, definitely. Calendar management, travel booking, maybe even simpler procurement requests. Agents can handle a lot of that background admin.
Okay, and customer service.
Yeah, in customer service augmentation. While, fully automating complex customer issues is still tricky.
It's that human touch.
Often, yeah. But agents can significantly help human support agents. They can draft suggested responses for common questions, provide real-time access to product info during a call, summarize the interaction notes afterwards, making the human agent much more efficient.
Okay, so we know what they are, what they can realistically do now, and we've seen some concrete examples. Now, the big question. How do we actually get started? What's the practical roadmap for someone listening right now who's thinking, okay, I want to try this?
Right. The key thing, and the most successful companies do this, is to take an incremental approach. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Start small.
Exactly. Kieran Flanagan gives great advice here. He says, if you actually take a role and you split out your tasks into low precision, high precision, you can actually start to pick ones that are in that low precision category. And that's like some places to experiment with agents.
So don't try to automate your whole business on day one. Pick those low-precision tasks first.
Precisely.
So phase one is assessment. How do we actually identify those high-impact but low-risk starting points in our own work or organization?
You use those 4 criteria we talked about earlier. Assess tasks based on frequency, is it done often? Time intensity, does it eat up a lot of human time? Structured data, does it have clear inputs and outputs? And clear success metrics, can we measure if it's working?
And crucially,
You look for those low precision tasks where 90% accuracy is okay, errors aren't catastrophic. Those are your ideal first candidates, not the high stakes, high precision stuff like legal contracts right out of the gate.
okay, assess and find the low-hanging, low-precision fruit. What's phase two? Implementation.
It's a step-by-step approach. First, start simple and build success. Pick one single, well-defined use case that you're pretty confident will work. Get an early win.
Build momentum.
Exactly. Second, select the right technology approach. This could be anything from easy-to-use no-code platforms to more flexible low-code frameworks, or even custom development if you have very specific needs and the resources.
Options for different technical levels.
Right. Third, and this is important, build with human oversight in mind. Remember Kip Bodnar's point about background tasks. The latency doesn't matter if a human is going to review it later anyway. Especially early on, humans should retain approval for critical steps or decisions.
Keep the human in the loop.
Definitely. And fourth, test extensively before you fully deploy it. Use historical data, run controlled scenarios, really kick the tires and refine the agent's performance before letting it loose.
Okay, test. Phase three then is integration. How do we connect these agents into everything else we're already using?
Yeah, this is critical for actually getting value. It involves 3 main things. First is data access and security. You need to set up secure API connections, define really clear boundaries on what data the agent can use, and implement proper authentication. Protect your data.
Super important.
Second is workflow integration. How does the agent actually fit into how work gets done today? Where do its outputs go? Who reviews them? How does it trigger the next step? Making it seamless is key.
So it doesn't feel bolted on.
Exactly. And third, crucially, user experience design. Remember Kieran Flanagan's question about trust. What's the right UX pattern so people feel comfortable? Should it be a black box or transparent? How do people interact with it? Getting the UX right is huge for adoption. It's all about building that trust.
Yeah, designing for trust with your new digital teammate. Makes sense. Okay, finally, phase 4, measurement. How do we know if this is actually working? How do we track the ROI?
You need clear metrics, and you should track across 3 main areas. First, efficiency metrics, things like time saved, volume of work processed, maybe cost per transaction if applicable.
The basic speed and feed stuff.
Kind of, yeah. Second, quality metrics. This is about accuracy, error rates, consistency of the output. Is it actually doing a good job?
Right, not just fast, but good.
Exactly. And third, business impact metrics. This is the bottom line. How is it influencing revenue? Is customer satisfaction changing? What about employee satisfaction or engagement?
Connecting it back to real business outcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And the key here is establish a baseline before you implement. You need to know where you started to see how far you've come.
Measure before and after.
Yeah.
Got it. So we've got a roadmap. But let's be honest, implementing new tech always has bumps. What are the common pitfalls people stumble into, and how can we avoid them?
Yeah, there are definitely common traps. One big one is over-automation without proper oversight. People get excited and try to automate too much too soon without keeping a human in the loop.
How do you avoid that?
Implement what you might call graduated autonomy. Start with agents doing background tasks where human review is easy. Don't give them the keys to the kingdom on day 1, especially for critical stuff.
Okay. What else trips people up?
Unrealistic expectations about capabilities. We see this with every new tech wave, right?
Oh yeah, hype cycles.
Exactly. Avoid disappointment by doing that thorough assessment up front. Understand what agents can actually do well now. They excel at well-defined tasks, not super nuanced, subjective decisions. Also, poor implementation strategies can just derail the whole thing.
Great.
Like not using iterative approaches or not being transparent about how the agent works or messing up that user experience we talked about.
Makes sense. What about the people side of things? Resistance.
Oh, huge one. Resistance to adoption and change management. People naturally worry about change, especially when it involves AI and jobs.
So how do you handle that?
The key is communication. Position agents as enhancing capabilities, making jobs better, not threatening them. Involve the end users in the process, listen to their concerns, train them properly, and celebrate those early wins. Show people how it makes their lives easier.
Show, don't just tell.
Exactly. Another pitfall is data quality and integration challenges. Agents need good data. Garbage in, garbage out still applies. So do a data readiness check. Start with tasks that use relatively clean, accessible data.
Don't set it up to fail with bad data.
Right. And finally, a simple but common one. Lack of clear success metrics. If you don't define what success looks like up front, how will you know if you achieved it?
You can't prove the value.
Exactly. Establish those baselines, define specific, measurable goals for both efficiency and quality.
Okay, good warnings. Let's broaden our view now as we start to wrap up. Looking ahead, how will AI agents really reshape roles and skills? What does this mean for the future of work, for our careers?
Yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. Karen Flanagan had that provocative thought. In the future, people might be hired because of the agents that they have helping them do their role.
Wow, hired for your agents.
Yeah. Think about that. It's a fundamental shift. It's not just about your personal skills anymore. It's about your ability to effectively build, manage, and leverage a team of AI agents as force multipliers for your work.
So we all need to become technically literate, but maybe not deep coders, more like knowing how to direct these tools.
Exactly right. Understanding how to prompt effectively, how to direct agents, how to collaborate with them, that's going to become a core competency, probably across almost all jobs.
And what about building them?
Yeah, there's also what the source calls the agent builder advantage. Employees who can actually construct or customize agents for specific workflow problems, they'll likely have a significant edge in the job market.
Okay, and what happens to the skills that agents can't do?
They become even more valuable. As agents handle more of the routine, data-driven tasks, the emphasis on uniquely human skills, creativity, empathy, ethical judgment, complex problem-solving, strategic thinking will just skyrocket. Your humanness becomes your differentiator.
So how do we train our teams or ourselves for this new reality?
Well, the goal isn't to train people to accept being replaced, right? It's to help them evolve into more strategic roles using these incredibly powerful new tools. Remember Kip Bodnar's point. We're still in very short supply of just smart, rational humans applying logic and leveraging technology.
Yeah, we still need the humans applying logic.
Absolutely. So training should focus on things like agent literacy, just understanding what they can and can't do. Prompt engineering, learning how to talk to them effectively. Output evaluation, being able to critically assess the agent's work, not just blindly trust it. And workflow integration, knowing how to weave these agents smoothly into how work actually gets done.
I really like this concept from the Playbook about building a personal portfolio of AI agents. What does that actually look like for someone working today?
It's a cool idea, isn't it? Just like professionals today have a network of human contacts and a suite of software tools they use,
Right.
the workforce of tomorrow, maybe even today, will develop these personalized collections of AI agents tailored to their specific job function and needs.
Give me an example.
Okay, imagine a marketing pro. They might have their go-to content generation agent, a market research agent that's constantly feeding them insights, maybe a performance analytics agent keeping track of campaigns, all working together.
Like a personal AI team.
Exactly. Or a sales pro with a prospect research agent, an outreach customization agent, a meeting prep agent. This personal portfolio of agents becomes a real asset, a competitive advantage that helps you deliver way more impact.
So we're really moving from thinking of AI as just a tool like Word or Excel to seeing it more as a collaborative partner.
I think that's exactly the shift. And Kieran captures the potential beautifully when he talks about creativity. He says, it's how it unlocks your creativity and the speed you can iterate with it that I just think is the most exciting thing.
Faster iteration, more creativity.
Yeah. The most successful people won't be the ones who resist AI or the ones who just completely hand over the reins. They'll be the ones who develop really sophisticated ways to collaborate, leveraging the best of both human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
Playing to each strength.
Precisely. Humans bring the creativity, the judgment, the empathy, the relationship building. AI agents bring the speed, the data processing, the consistent execution, the scalability. It's a true synergy when you get it right.
So for organizations listening, How should they prepare for this future? It sounds like it's more than just buying some new software.
Oh, absolutely. It's multifaceted. They need to think about culture shifts, moving away from fear and towards seeing AI as an opportunity, really showcasing how it enhances roles.
Getting buy-in.
Huge. They need to invest seriously in skill development, training their teams, not just on the tech, but also reinforcing those uniquely human skills that become more important. Infrastructure readiness is key to having the technical foundation to support these agents. And finally, robust governance frameworks.
Rules of the road.
Exactly. Clear principles for how agents are used, what their limits are, how human oversight works, ethical considerations. Organizations tackling these things proactively today are the ones who will really pull ahead.
Okay, so pulling this all together, what does this mean for you, our listener, right now? What's the bottom line?
I think the bottom line is this. Implementing AI agents isn't really about replacing people. It's truly about reimagining how work gets done. And 2025 feels like a pivotal moment for making that human-AI collaboration effective. The opportunity is definitely here now.
So, to quickly summarize the 5 essential takeaways for you to remember from this deep dive. First, start small. Pick those low-precision tasks first. Don't try to boil the ocean.
Right.
Second, design for that human-AI partnership. Keep humans in the loop, especially for critical decisions.
Crucial.
Third, measure. Track both efficiency and quality, and connect it to business impact. Prove the value.
Gotta measure.
Fourth, build organizational capabilities. Train your team, foster the right culture, get the tech ready.
Invest in your people.
And fifth, maintain realistic expectations. Understand what agents can do well today and what still needs that human touch.
Manage the hype.
Exactly.
And the core philosophy that runs through all the successful implementations seems clear. It's about strategic human-AI collaboration, understanding that agents are fantastic at the repetitive stuff, which frees up humans to bring their irreplaceable creativity, judgment, and relationship skills to the forefront.
It comes back to that Kip Bodnar quote again. We're still in very short supply of just smart, rational humans applying logic and leveraging technology. This partnership really amplifies that human potential. It frees us from the mundane to focus on what truly matters, the stuff only we can do.
Yeah. The future of work probably isn't humans versus AI. It's humans and AI working together, each contributing their unique strengths.
So the time to begin exploring your own AI agent journey,
Yeah.
well, it seems like it's right now.